I will be your, well, I won't say master of ceremonies, certainly the jack of all ceremonies, perhaps. My name is Russell Bowers, and I'm the host of Daybreak on CBC Radio. Now, working for CBC Radio in Alberta, I'm a little nervous this evening because I'm not used to talking to this many people. I do the weekend morning show, 6 to 9 a.m. Exactly. Everybody's up, right? And but we also have a podcast. We've entered the modern age. So if you have something, approaching a computer, then you're certainly welcome to go on iTunes and look for Daybreak there, or go to our website, cbc.ca/DaybreakAlberta, and you can get the free podcast there, and you can listen to the show whenever you like. Of course, CBC Radio, 99.1 FM in Calgary. If you have something newer than an 82 Ford pickup, something older, 1010 AM. Now, a couple of things I want to do before we get started here this evening. I just want to remind you about a couple of things. How many people here do the Twitter? All that stuff? Yay? Okay. So if you're on the Twitter, and feel free to go out of here tonight, or even during the show, and go on your Twitter and tell people what a great time you're having at the Calgary International Spoken Word Festival. Just a reminder to basically always include CISWF in any of your tweets. So that's hashtag, the number sign, CISWF. And another thing I want to tell you about, there's also a blog that's being done as part of the festival this year. So you can dialogue with Will Nall. He's doing the live blog. And every night, we're also streaming live to the internet. So say hello to the internet. It's becoming so popular. The other thing I want to mention as well as we go along here this evening is do watch out for your phone, because they do make lots of noise. This one doesn't. So if you want to avoid popular ringtones, other things that bleep and tweet, then we'd appreciate if you turn those off as well. But you can keep them on if you want to tweet, or if you want to just take some pictures or tell everybody what a great time you're having here. Now, before we go any further, I also want to mention that the 2011 International Spoken Word Festival is launching a very special book this year. And it's the Spoken Word Poetry Workbook. Yes, that's worthy of applause. It is. Now, this is not just for people who are budding poets. Perhaps it's just someone who has an interest in poetry, how it's done and how different people approach it. There's about 28 different contributors to this book. Some of them you'll hear here tonight. And I would like to bring to the stage now the woman whose hard work and toil put this entire book together and made it available for you here tonight and also throughout the festival. Would you please welcome to the stage a force of nature in her own right, Sherry D. Wilson.
Thank you, Russell Bowers. Is he not sexy and hot?
Merci. N'est-il pas sexy, cet homme?
Of course, there will be instant translation.
Évidemment, il y aura de la traduction instantanée.
And we thought the best way to start
Et on a
Smart
pensé
Men, Hot Words
que pour commencer cette soirée avec des hommes sexy et passionnés, rien de mieux que d'être ici avec l'énergie pour déplacer cette énergie où tout est possible, l'ouvrir à Eros.
Speaking of Eros,
en parlant d'Eros,
I would like to point out that Will Noel on the blog
j'aimerais dire que Will Noel et son blog a reçu bien des lettres d'amour.
So I have decided
Alors on a décidé qu'il est temps de lancer un défi à ces poètes. On aimerait que vous écriviez une lettre d'amour à un étranger.
Look around the room.
Regardez dans cette salle.
Look around your heart.
Regardez autour de votre cœur.
Look around your soul.
Regardez autour de votre
And
âme.
muse and write a love letter to a stranger.
Utilisez ce qui existe et écrivez une lettre d'amour.
Drop it on our blog.
Envoyez-la sur
And
notre
see what
blog.
Will has to say about that.
Et voyons ensuite ce que Bill répondra.
The other interesting thing that happened on the Twitter, sweet
Autre
dreams
chose
today
intéressante qui est arrivée sur Twitter.
was that Tanya Davis
C'est Tanya
commented
Davis
on the cowboy hats of the police, the Calgary
qui a
police.
commenté à propos des chapeaux de cowboy des policiers de Calgary.
Ah oui,
Oh,
the policiers de Calgary cowboy.
los policías
And the
de
police-
Calgary y sus gorros de caballeros.
And the police tweeted back.
Y lo más cómico de todo es que la policía respondió en Twitter. La police de Calgary, chers amis, utilise Twitter. Gare à vous.
Thank you, the Auburn. Thank you.
Merci,
Thank
Auburn.
you, Banff Center.
Gracias.
Thank
Moltes
you.
gracias.
Thank you, Calgary Public Library.
Merci, Calgary, pour
Frontenac
toute la
House,
poésie.
Hotel Arts,
Hotel
Pro
Arts,
Art Society,
La Société
Writers
des
Guild
Arts.
of Alberta.
la Société des écrivains,
Thank you, Alberta
Merci.
Creative Development
le
Initiative.
développement culturel de l'Alberta,
Alberta Lottery Fund, Alberta
Le fond-
Foundation for the Arts.
la Fondation des arts de l'Alberta,
Calgary Arts Development Authority.
le développement des arts de
Calgary
Calgary,
Foundation, Canada
la
Council for
Fondation,
the Arts.
le Conseil des arts
Community
du Canada,
Spirit, Department of Heritage Canada and the League
Patrimoine
of Canadian
canadien
Poets.
et la Ligue des
CJSW,
poètes,
CKUA,
CKUA,
Fast Forward, Fast Forward.
Fast Forward, Fast
Thank you
Forward.
to the illustrious Board of Directors.
Merci au
and the
conseil
festival team
d'administration,
and all of
à
our
toute l'équipe du
volunteers.
festival.
Thank you.
Merci,
Thank you.
merci, gracias.
And thank you to Goddess
merci
Taryn and
à
Goddess Jess.
Jess et
Goddess
Taryn,
Taryn and Goddess Jess.
la
Goddess
diva
Taryn and
Taryn, la
Goddess
diva
Jess.
Jess,
Goddess and Taryn and
la
Goddess
diosa
and Jess.
Taryn et la diosa Jess.
Tonight we will be launching
Ce
the
soir, on
Spoken
lancera
Word Workbook.
le livre,
The Spoken Word
précieux livre,
Workbook.
Spoken
Inspiration
Word,
from poet to
formation,
teach.
lecture et
There's
développement.
27 noteworthy spoken word
27
artists from all
poètes
over North America in
réunis
this book.
entre les mêmes
They give
couvertures.
lessons. They give lessons and
libros
tips. They give hints and lessons and
que
tips
da
to young writers and old.
ejercicios
They give
y asuntos.
They give you the opportunity to
Ils vous
see
donnent
your world in
l'opportunité
different ways.
de développer votre
They give you the
créativité.
opportunity to speak and
Ils vous
write
donnent
and have
l'opportunité
voice.
de prendre
This is
la
an
parole.
opportunity for you.
C'est un livre pour vous
To take flight.
envolé.
This night and always. Thank you.
Cette nuit est à vous.
Sherry D. Wilson. Well, gentlemen, we have our work cut out for us. So, what are smart men? Do they even exist? What makes their words hot? The legendary actress Mae West once said, "A man can be short, dumpy, and getting bald, but if he has fire, women will like him." That's why I carry a lighter. Not to point out the obvious, of course, men are not without their faults. The journalist Linda Ellerby once asked, if men can run the world, why can't they stop wearing neckties? How intelligent is it to start the day by tying a little noose around your neck? No neckties here. Well, tonight, men make the case for themselves. No gadgets, no gimmicks. It's just their words. Tonight, we have men who can manipulate their mouths. Royal in their hotness. Men of heightened intelligence that will twist, if not melt, your knickers. Sexy, handsome, suave, sweethearted, with all the right poetic licks. They have vitality, high speed, brain velocity, and a certain aphrodisiac quality. These are smart men, hot words. The first of these is Steve Miller. Now, I'm told that Steve Miller has been performing since before he can remember. Started when he was 5 years old. He grew up in music and theater, performing everywhere and anywhere, but he kept his writing to himself. Suddenly, in 2008, his words and his performance came together in the spoken word. In 2008, he took third place at his first slam in Calgary. Here at the Auburn. He won the 2009 Vancouver Story Slam semifinals, took fourth in the finals. I'll notice fourth, not at the Auburn. In 2010, he self-published his first book, Naked Poetry. He's a member of the 2010 CFSW wildcard team who made it all the way to the semifinals. He's toured with Johnny McRae as the Wet Coast Poets, performing across the country. And he says he'll perform anywhere, anytime. And tonight, that includes the Calgary International Spoken Word Festival. He's a self-identified cowboy, queer, and carpenter poet. Oh, darling, aren't we all? Steve Miller.
Hi, Calgary. I'm Steve Miller, and I want to be your band. Orchestrate music on your stage, page after page of unwritten songs. High notes kissed with my mouth, harp slow touching every note on the scale, sliding chord by chord as you grab the microphone. Look me in the eyes with anticipation to sing. Soft, full, burning, engorged, wet, slick lips saying, play me some more, jazz hands. Strum the guitar strings inside. Tickle the ivories behind. Slap the bass line, ring the cymbal vibe, bang the drum, drive that beat so deep. Oh, melody. Oh, harmony. Oh, symphony. Oh, song. Ringing candy tones of eye-rolling, mind-numbing, glass-shattering, rocket launching, moon bouncing, space floating, music. Encore, anyone? And I'm going to text you till sunrise. Tickling you with my words, waking, it's really hot up here. Tickling you with my words, waking wet below the waistline, dreams of seamless littoral alliteration, lashing long licks of hip-twisting linguistics, lettering lingering fingers find blinding folded emoticons, slowly saturating your inbox with each send, read, reply, send, read, reply, send, read, reply. God, I wish you were here right now, on top of me right now, all over me right now, rivers of you rushing around me right now, gushing like a glacier, melted freshwater spring flowering from the earth, may showering me with the worth of your essence. I want to taste you right now. I really want to taste you right now. In a friendly sort of way. No, really. I want you on my tongue. I want to hum sweet honey harmony inside you. I want to take our breath away just long enough to make you squeal when you gasp for air. Feel you grasp my hair in your hands. Every hair on your body stands at attention. The only words mentioned over my lips. God, you taste good. But I'm at work. So every nail I drive deep between the grains of soaking wet sequoia, moaning softly with every thrust of hammer, wetness seeping to the surface, squirting sweetness as cedar flesh surrounds the spiral nails. Warming cold hard steel, the two become one as I hum harmonies in my head. And these hands have held the tools of every trade possible. They swing hammers like they are one with my body. These hands have prepared food for thousands. These hands have held the steering wheels of bobcats, bulldozers, and big rigs. These hands have birthed baby animals and brought them into this earth. These hands have held them when they've left. These hands have clenched in anger, cupped my face in sorrow, clapped when praise, and raised the roof with joy. But the best thing these hands have done, felt, and held was when these hands made you my toy. It's really hot up here. I don't know if they do this on purpose just to make us sweat or what. But wow, it's super, super hot in here. I'm Steve Miller. I'm originally from Calgary. I've moved to Vancouver. It's good to be back. I'm not going to talk too much because I want to fit as much poetry in as I can. A lot of times I do costumes and I do a lot of cowboy stuff. I call myself cowboy queer, not because I'm gay, but because I'm strange as fuck. But you know what? Gender identity is a whole crazy thing, but we're not here to talk about that tonight. And I got here, I brought my cowboy hat and my chaps and everything, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let my words talk for themselves and see how hot we can get it up here. You know, I thought that my words are really what is important. You know, I don't really, you know, the costumes and the toys and all that stuff, just, you know, whatever. But being with you is like redialing the sun, telling it it's time to slow down for the savoring of every single million cell exploding moments in every single bite of a Blackberry Sundae. After a few fun days of just getting dirty. 30 or 40 times at least. A giant feast of pure pleasure in a clear little plastic bowl. So much goodness and soul-fulfilling satisfaction packed into one brief moment. Time spent so passionately, so definitely for reasons without reason, and reasons like seasons, and even reasons like seasons, and even those seasons seem to end as soon as they come. That's okay, because I remember that time and that other time and that other time time. Remember the time. I remember that time flies when you're having fun from dawn till dusk till sweet sunrise all over again. And wow, did the flies get a Showtime Friday night movie marathon madness that would make Monday morning simply intermission conversations with me, myself, and you, yourself. Conversations that weren't really meant to go anywhere, but go everywhere. That needs to be truthfully, openly being those beings that remind us to just believe in ourselves. Rescuing each other from personal hells without the need for screaming for help. Redeeming the light inside us. Floating goals to the surface we didn't even know were waiting for us. And stating the obvious isn't always easy when we see what needs to be a friendship on fire night so hot we forgot what difference naughty or nice makes. And taking chances on romances is always a risk worth the stakes that take us to those heights so high we forget about when the summer ends comes the fall season, bringing new weather, new colors, new nights and weekend flights, and one more last bite of that delicious blackberry sundae. Forever playing explosive waves on every bud of my tongue, reminded me of the one and only you, that you are beautiful, you. And although far from each other, a place in my heart will always be yours. Blackberry painted walls surrounding a crystal clear bowl with 2 spoons. I'm not kidding, it's really hot up here. And you? You are hotter than hot. You are an oasis in desert sun. You are the endless miles of Serengeti surrounding a single tree, offering the only shade, guarded by a sleeping lion. And he looks hungry. You are branding irons stampeding through the prairies. You are easy bake oven running nuclear. You are the toaster elements that burn toast even on low. You are the ant burning magnifying glass point focus point of the sun that makes children God. You're Sheriff D. fucking Wilson. You don't even need anything. You are Mexican jumping beans. You make camels thirsty. You are a hot sauce milkshake. Hold the cream. Hold the ice. Hold the milk. Extra hot sauce. Extra shake. You make camels thirsty. You are jalapeno, tiger bomb, habaneros, and the jockstrap of a marathon runner from Africa who won't stop running ever, a hot bushman. You are the liquefied sand on the end of Chihuli's punty waiting to be blown, but you're already beautiful. You are what poets for the next 1,000 years will be wishing they would have used first to cliche all cliches of hotness until the sun burns itself out from trying to compete with you and we all cease to exist until you smile again, creating yet another big bang, starting yet another cycle of hotness. I have no idea how long I've been. I'm going to do one more poem for you guys. And because if I do any more than that, I'll start taking my pants off, and then it's just bad. I forgot my sparkly booty pants at home, so booty shorts at home. Okay. That's the one I forgot. You are way too hot to pay for my new book. Hotter Than Hot, only $7 at the back door. Butt crack sweat not included. I knew I was going to end up naked up here. Throw them to me. It's a 3-minute poem. I'll do it while I get dressed. I can't even count How many days of my life have been spent listening to my girlfriends cry about their asshole boyfriends? Why do you stay with them? Because he's so hot and sex is so good. Why do assholes make such great lovers? What I want to know is, why are women attracted to pricks? Like the thickness of our gender is directly related to how meaty we treat you bitches? Come on. Nice guys always finish last. We're not naive to roles played in the hay, one-night lays that equate to nothing, but I want you right here and right now. You don't want me, do you? I want you right here and right now, releasing that animal that's inside all of us. But what confuses me is, and no, I'm not dyslexic, I'm just confused and fussy about why aren't nice guys seen as sexy as bad boys? So I'm going to voice a little something about us nice guys. When you call us to come help you move your furniture, we will. Gladly and repeatedly. But we can also pick you up, put you on the dresser, pin you up against the wall, and kiss you so passionately you forget to breathe. Holding your hands above your head so tight, to us, foreplay means hours for play. These nice lips will speak volumes to anybody or body that'll listen for days. Because nice guys don't have lists that need crossing, belts that need notching, or more hoes that need calling. When we were kissing you, you know we were kissing you. Calling your name, that name that you come by. We genuinely want to discover what makes you quiver and squeeze your legs together, not forcefully spread them apart. Any fool can pick a flower, ripping petals off, leaving them on the ground under his feet to be walked on by the rest of the meat market. The neat thing about a nice guy is, we'll leave that flower where it's at, bringing beautiful words to it so it blooms naturally and slowly and again and again and again and again. And tomorrow, we'll be more than happy to come back to that exact same flower with a whole new set of words that we spent all night dreaming up. While assholes, they spent all night looking for new flowers to wipe their feet on because they only know one-way words, baby. Bitches make it easy for us to be so lazy. A couple of wines, some one-lines. God must have been mining diamonds when he made your eyes. Chicks dig it because it rhymes. The next morning when he's looking for his pants like a cockroach with the lights on, close your eyes and ask him what color they are. If he doesn't say, hazel, he'll be mining new diamonds by the time you finally open them. That's okay, though. That itch won't let you forget how dangerously dreamy he was for at least a week. Bad boys are all about sexual liberation. Thank God for sexual liberation. Viva la revolution, changing the world, one wet ass cheek at a time. Yeah! If only you could hear them when you're not around. Sexually, we have come so far from divine love. There's no sex in our violence, and there's no love in our fucking either. And half the time, there isn't even like. The sexual revolution wasn't supposed to become a revolving door of teenage horrors for men to choose from. VW vans didn't have painted flowers that read free fucking. It was free love. Sex always comes to the cost to at least one person. Bad boys are all about, thank God, the bad boys are all about coming in first. Me, myself, a motherfucker. Oh, sorry. Nice guys, we might not always win, but we'll try our best to finish last.
Steve Miller. Just give me a second here. I just got to leave myself a little voice note. You really should have wore the tool belt tonight. You know what's sad? I don't even own one. The best I can do is I've hidden a diamond somewhere on my body, and for $5, I'll let you look for it. How's everybody doing? Good? Poor Derek, that mic stand got quite a workout. Not unlike some of our audience members tonight. Okay, next. Of course, it's order, protocol, and of course good manners that I'm here to introduce Eugene Stickland. But what to say about Eugene that we don't already know? Well, I could make something up. I could tell you that he inspired the Bare Naked Ladies song, The King of Bedside Manner, but some of you might protest and say, no, he has the bedside manners of a king. But of course, Eugene's imprint is all over Alberta theatre projects. He created and debuted play after play as their writer-in-residence for 15 years. He mentored so many artists during the course of that time and continues to do so. You can occasionally find him writing in coffee shops. These days, he's also writer-in-residence at St. Mary's College. His plays have been widely produced. Most recently, there was a production of Queen Lear, now in Turkish translation in Istanbul, not Constantinople. I know you're all thinking it. His most notable works are Some Assembly Required, a finalist for the Governor General's Award in 1995, Excavations, winner of the Alberta Playwriting Award in 1995 as well, and A Guide to Mourning, winner of the Betty Mitchell Award for Best New Play in 1998. It is my great pleasure and your great privilege to welcome to the stage of the International Spoken Word Festival, Mr. Eugene Stickland.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. Thanks. It's so nice to be here. I would never be ever doing spoken word if it weren't for Sherry D and this organization. And I'm very proud to be here. And I'm very proud to be in that beautiful book. It's such an honor. If you ever read my essay, I talk about coming to the first one of these things and feeling so old and so square because I had a text and I had my reading glasses and I saw pictures of myself and it seemed like everybody else was 19 years old, and it seemed like I was about 80, and I was, reading this thing, you kids nowadays. So I thought, In my piece, I talk about the relationship between theater, which is the world I come from, and performance and poetry. So tonight, for the first time ever, I'm going to try to perform and not to read. So... Yeah, see if you're clapping 13 minutes from now. We'll see what happens. But my friend Will Knoll back there said, fly as close to failure as you possibly can, brother. And I'm out here, man. I'm out here. And we're going to redefine smart in about 2 minutes. This is like jazz. I kind of know some of my melody, but I'm going to make some of it up too. And it was all on account of the fact that my picture was on the cover of a magazine. And we were standing there looking into a bar that I like to go to for an afternoon drink. And she was standing there because she's supposed to go to work. But it was like the apocalypse had happened with ice because it was 40 below zero and the pipes had frozen. And she looked at me and she said, I don't think you're going to get that drink. And I said, I don't think you're going to go to work. And she said, I think you're that guy on the magazine. And I went, well, which one? She said, you know the one. I said, yeah, well, Canadian playwright, we're burdened with fame. And I realized she was really quite attractive, and she kept saying, magazine. It's like, what does it be like to get on the cover of a magazine? I've never been on the cover of a magazine. That's how it whirls for me, I'm just like, on the cover of a magazine. It's kind of what I do. Now, I had things to do that night, so I couldn't the way I might have liked to. So a plan was made to meet about 2 days hence for viands and wine. So the next day I got up and I started thinking about this, and I started to go, holy fuck, what am I doing, dude? No, just call that number and say, no, it's off, it's off. See, she was a little bit younger than me. Maybe a generation. And then I remembered the advice of my friend Sean, who had gone to a doctor when he was in such a situation because he wasn't sure that he could perform. And I said, oh, dude, that's not a problem for me, man. I'm good. He goes, no, just in case. I said, I'm always going to be okay, man. He goes, yeah, but you smoke and you drink, and you're always fucking around. There's going to be a couple of days. I said, I don't need that shit. He said, look it, man, you're going to go whitewater rafting without a life jacket? Just put a life jacket on. What's going to hurt? So I'm remembering all this, and I think, I remember he said, doctors with the prescription pad are like dogs. You give them a certain command and they write the prescription. And the command word is anxiety. So, I go down to the medical clinic that afternoon and I went to a sleazy one out in Forest Lawn. Doctor's all, smock's all got yellow stuff on it and stuff, and he comes down. And I get a little eczema in the winter, so I'm shortening the patches, and he gives me a thing called Celestiderm, like skin of the heavens or something. And he goes, so anything else? And I said, no, that's good. I said, well, actually, yeah, one thing. And I said, I got this thing about to happen, And I'm feeling a little anxiety. Oh, and he perks right up. He goes, anxiety, eh? And I said, yeah, anxiety. And I said, I'm a little anxious. He goes, oh, yeah, anxious. Eh? I said, yeah. He goes, you're feeling a little angst. And I said, no angst. But anxiety. He goes, oh, what not angst? And I said, well, I've always heard angst defined as unobjectified anxiety. And he goes, so there's objectification of the anxiety then. Is that what you told me? I said, oh, yeah, big time objectification of the anxiety. He said, well, what is the objectification of the anxiety? I said, well, it's the thing itself. It's the act itself. He goes, well, I don't know the act, man. You're not telling me. And I said, well, it's like we say on the prairies, making a CK into a G and dropping the final G, fugging. I got fugging anxiety. Oh, you got anxiety about fugging? Oh, yeah, man. I got this thing. I might be doing some fucking, and I'm kind of anxious. I got anxiety. And he goes, oh, well, don't worry about it. I got a thing for you. I said, oh, yeah? He goes, yeah. There's a pill. I'm going to give you that pill. I said, does it work? He goes, oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah. This is a doctor talking. He said, my brother took one of these, and he said he could fuck a whole village. I said, like a village, a whole village, everybody. Man, woman, child, the guy down at the rink making the ice for curling, just fuck them all. He goes, yeah. I said, like Nanton. I go, fuck Nanton. He goes, yeah. So, take one. Just take one, whatever you do. So, the next night, driving there, get into the old Mercury, if you remember it. Having the freedom air. And she's got on a top, it's got on a horizontal slit right about here. So you can kind of peer in there. Like it's a letterbox. You're looking in at two lost civilizations. So beautiful. And she's all like, oh, it must be so cool to have your picture on the magazine. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And she's all like, and I'm like, and she's like, oh, I'm having such a good time. And I said, oh, I'm having such a good time. And it's just going so good. I can't even believe it. I'm pinching myself. I can't do this. It's only too soon. So I say, excuse me, my dear. I just have to go around and freshen up. So in this little pocket, I've got the little bubble pack with the pill. There's actually two of them. So I run the water, and I poke the bubble pack, and I take the pill. Nothing. I think, well, if you could fuck a small village with one pill. Imagine two. Imagine what you could do with two. Two of these pills. I think two. But Took the second one. And I go back upstairs. And she's just putting her cell phone away. And I says, and she says, and I said, we'll go back to my place. Let nature take its course. She says, no, I'm going out to a movie with a friend. Yes, it's been so nice to meet you. It's a really nice meal, a really nice time. Movie with a friend. It's kind of something I've been planning for a long time. Okay, well, I'll drive you home then. So we're driving home, trying not to look into the letter slot, into the civilizations. Driving. Then I drop her off, and you know, I'm a smart man, right? Because I'm here. And I figure, you know, it's not about me. It's about the man on the magazine. It doesn't matter. And I was so sad. I couldn't even take advantage of those pills. I just went home. I put the pillow over my head, and I went to bed. Went to sleep. Well, the next day, I found myself in IKEA. Yeah, IKEA, you know, Swedish place with lots of furniture. I need a desk light, so that's where I always go. And I'm in the maze, you know, I'm in the maze. Everything's cool. And then I get sort of into the kitchen part with all the handles and the knobs and everything. And all of a sudden, oh, dude, I'm in IKEA, and I got the biggest heart-on of my whole life. And there's mothers with strollers and nuns and people in wheelchairs and all the knobs and the cupboards and the tables and chairs and and this is the honest to God truth. I went down, got a catalog, and I went into the washroom. And I opened the catalog to the desk that I wrote all those award-winning plays at, which is called a jerker. And I jerked off in the IKEA washroom. Oh, it was the best orgasm I had in my whole entire life. Fuck, it was good. All that stuff around me. Oh. And then imagine my shame. Oh, Mr. Bean. So I did what any smart man would do. I went out and for $1.50 got 2 hot dogs and a Mountain Dew. Then I stood in the little cafeteria and ate my hot dogs and drank my Mountain Dew, watched the people buying all their things, suddenly feeling part of the human race, but kind of removed from it too. Thank you.
Eugene Stickland. Hang on a second. To-do list. Call the doctor. They have pills. Number 2, don't use the washroom at IKEA. Okay, good. Hi. Well, actually, I was telling you about Twittering earlier, you know, if you got the Twitter with you. I went on Christian Book's Twitter. Here's what he's got, okay? Christian Book's Twitter. There are only 43 numbers whose names lack the letter N, and 43 is one of them. Award-winning, keep in mind. This one's good. It's about a star, a celestial star. CFBD SIR 1458-10b, elegantly named. It's a star just hot enough to boil water. Award-winning. And this third tweet I really like. This is why you have Twitter. Friends in Buffalo, I'm performing this weekend in the Western New York Book Arts Fair. Of course, Christian Book is known for so much more. Eunoia is a work for which he's most famous. It only uses one vowel in each of its 5 chapters. The book has gone on to become a bestseller, winning the lucrative Griffin Poetry Prize in 2002. Christian, of course, is a sound poet and has created books from Rubik's Cubes and Lego bricks. And he's also constructed artistic languages for the TV shows Gene Roddenberry's Earth, Final Conflict, and Peter Benchley's Amazon. And currently, Christian is teaching English at the University of Calgary. Would you please welcome to the festival, Christian Book.
Good evening. Tonight is a special night for me. I apologize for imposing upon you with a relatively lengthy patter, but I've been working for the last 9 years on a single poem, very short poem, one poem. And through a process of encipherment, in the same way you might translate a text into semaphore or Morse code, I've been trying to figure out how to write a poem in such a way that I could actually translate it into a sequence of genetic nucleotides. Then I would translate my poem into a gene sequence, and with the assistance of a laboratory, I would actually build that gene in a lab and implant it into a bacterium, replacing part of its genetic code with my poem, so that the organism would in fact become the living embodiment of my text. That organism would in fact be my poem. Now, I would write this poem in such a way that it would in fact cause the organism to interpret my poem as a set of instructions for producing a protein. That's what genetic codes do. I would actually cause that organism to respond to my poem by forcing it to produce a protein which, according to my original chemical cipher, would be itself yet another poem. I'm effectively trying to genetically engineer an organism so that it would not only be an archive for storing my poem, it would in fact become a machine for writing a poem in response. Now, the punchline to this particular joke is that, in fact, the organism I've selected for this particular project is a bacterium called Deinococcus radiodurans, a very old organism, a bacterium that is capable of repairing its own genome so quickly that it does not evolve. It is, in fact, the way it was when it first appeared on the planet billions of years ago. It has not changed significantly because it is capable of repairing its own genome. Consequently, it makes a very durable archive for storing a poem. Moreover, this organism is capable of surviving in all kinds of extremes of environmental duress. It can survive extremes of heat and cold and desiccation. You can scorch it, freeze it, dry it out, and it will continue to live. You can expose it to the open vacuum of outer space, and the organism continues to live. You can even blast it with 1,000 times the dosage of gamma radiation that would instantly kill a human being, and it continues to live. This organism is considered one of the most unkillable bacteria on the planet. Now, by storing a poem within this particular organism, I would effectively be writing a book. that, except perhaps for the Pioneer probes or the Voyager probes, would be one of the few human artifacts to outlast terrestrial civilization, and it could conceivably be a book that would be on the planet Earth when the sun explodes. Now, I've been working on this project for the last 9 years to actually genetically engineer an organism to become a poet. And I've done all of this project on my own recognizance. I've done all the genetic engineering and proteomic engineering without scientific consultation, and have nevertheless managed today to actually dramatize that it works. Today I found out from the laboratory that my test runs on the organism E. coli work, that this genetically engineered poem will actually cause an organism to write a poem in response. And the poem I've written is actually designed to cause it to fluoresce red in the dark. My poem will actually cause it to glow red in the dark. And the poem actually talks about the fact that it can actually cause an organism to fluoresce red in the dark. Now, I've just today discovered that it works. And this was my first test run. After 9 years of work, I've made a big milestone. So I just wanted to acknowledge today that this is my big moment to announce that I've managed to accomplish this crazy feat. And consequently, thank you. As a side effect of that, I'd like to read to you this poem, which consists of 7 paragraphs. It's a relatively prosaic poem, written in response to this long-term project. It's taken a long time to do this project, and I still have a long way to go in order to realize it. This is my little fantasy about the badassness of poetry within the world of biology. The poem is called The Extremophile. I'd like to think of myself as something of an extremophile. The Extremophile. Astronauts fear it. Biologists fear it. It is not human. It lives in isolation. It grows in complete darkness. It derives no energy from the sun. It feeds on asbestos. It feeds on concrete. It inhabits a seam of gold on level 104 of the Mippenang mine in Johannesburg. It lives in alkaline lakelets full of arsenic. It grows in lagoons of boiling asphalt. It thrives in a deadly miasma of hydrogen sulfide. It breathes iron. It breathes rust. It needs no oxygen to live. It can survive for a decade without water. It can withstand temperatures of 323 degrees Kelvin, hot enough to melt rubidium. It can sleep for 100 millennia inside a crystal of salt buried in Death Valley. It does not die in the hellish infernos at the Stadtbibliothek during the firebombing of Dresden. It does not burn when exposed to ultraviolet rays. It does not reproduce via the use of DNA. It breeds unseen inside canisters of hairspray. It feeds on polyethylene. It feeds on hydrocarbons. It inhabits caustic geysers of steam near the Grand Prismatic Spring in Yellowstone National Park. It thrives in the acidic runoff from heavy metal mines depleted of their zinc. It abides in the shallows of the Dead Sea. It breathes methane. It can withstand temperatures of 333 degrees Kelvin, hot enough to melt phosphorus. It resides in a fumarole of scalding seawater deep in the bathyal fathoms of the mid-Atlantic ridge. It can endure pressures equivalent to 45 tons of force per square inch, 6 times greater than the pressure at the nadir of the ocean, 1/16 of the pressure required to crush graphite into diamond. It lives in the muck at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. It is ideally adapted to devour the wreck of the Titanic. It does not die during its own immolation in the Nazi bonfires at the Opernplatz in Berlin. It eats jet fuel. It feeds on nylon byproducts. It feeds on stainless steel. It inhabits an extinct volcano in the xeric waste of the Atacama Desert, where the rain falls only once per century. It dwells in a tide pool of battery acid. It blooms in a barren salina 10 times saltier than the sea. It breathes hydrogen. It resides inside micropores of super dense granite crushed down 3,000 meters below the bedrock of the earth. It can withstand temperatures of 343 degrees Kelvin, hotter than the flashpoint of aerosolized kerosene. It is ideally adapted to devour the rubber tubing in the engines of the F-22 Raptor. It does not die in the explosion that disintegrates the Space Shuttle Columbia during orbital re-entry. It does not die among the tornadoes of hellfire raging unchecked in the oils of Kuwait during the Persian Gulf War. It gorges on plumes of petroleum venting from the wellhead of the deep water horizon. It eats arsenic. It eats uranium. It resides inside the core of reactor number 4 at Chernobyl. It thrives in the topsoil of battlefields contaminated with toxic doses of lead. It thrives in hydrochloric acid. It can withstand temperatures of 373 degrees Kelvin, hot enough to boil the water in its own cells. It is ideally adapted to dwell inside the steel drums of radioactive waste now entombed at the Yucca Mountain repository. It lives in the stratosphere. It can survive exposure to the vacuum of outer space. It can survive the effects of G-forces more than 2,000 times greater than the surface gravity of the Earth. It is the only known organism capable of exceeding speeds of Mach 1. It does not die in the furnaces reserved for the satanic verses after the fatwa issued by the Ayatollah of Iran. It can, in fact, repair damage to its own genome so fast that its DNA never mutates, it never changes, it never evolves. It devours plutonium. It can endure long-term exposure to acids that eat away at human flesh. It can withstand temperatures of 383 degrees Kelvin, hotter than the polar zones on the planet Mercury. It can hibernate for 500 millennia in the core of a snowflake deep beneath the permafrost of Siberia. It awaits discovery in the abyssal fathoms of Lake Vostok, 4,000 meters below the ice of Antarctica. It survives direct immersion in liquid nitrogen. It survives 1,000 times the dosage of gamma radiation that can instantly kill a human being. It is ideally adapted to eat hot graphite in the ruins of Unit 2 at 3 Mile Island. It resides on the surface of a heat shield in the clean room at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. It does not die in the conflagration during the collapse of the World Trade Center. It does not die in the crucibles of Treblinka. It resides in a soda lake whose pH level equals the alkalinity of lye. It can survive superheated blasts of steam for 10 hours inside autoclaves used to disinfect surgical scalpels. It can withstand temperatures of 393 degrees Kelvin, hot enough to melt sulfur. It can lie dormant for 40 million years, hibernating inside the gut of a honeybee shrouded in a jewel of amber. It evades its predators by hiding in the firmware of the Intel Pentium 3 microchip. It propagates itself through the use of networked computers. It can survive direct blasts of cosmic rays from solar flares. It is, in fact, the only known organism to survive being shot point blank by the proton beam in a U-70 synchrotron. It does not die in the incineration of Hiroshima. It does not die in the planetary firestorm after the impact of the Chicxulub meteor. It does not die. It survives. It persists. It resides inside the robot scoop of the Viking 1 lander during tests for perchlorates on Mars. It can live through exposure to supercoolant temperatures at the brink of absolute zero. It can hibernate for 250 million years, living as a spore encased in a halite nodule found in the caverns of Carlsbad. It can withstand temperatures of 423 degrees Kelvin, hotter than the nose cone of the Concorde in supersonic flight. It can endure multiple meteor impacts. It can endure multiple atomic attacks. It lives nowhere on Earth except in one petri dish of agar locked in a fridge at a level 4 biocontainment facility. It awaits your experiments. It is totally inhuman. It does not love you. It does not need you. It does not even know that you exist. It is invincible. It is unkillable. It has lived through 5 mass extinctions. It is the only known organism to have ever lived on the moon. Thank you.
Christian Book. So, I guess you heard that the Minister of Science doesn't believe in evolution. All right. How about we take a little break? We'll stop here for about 10 minutes. What I'd like to invite you to do is to obviously refresh your beverages, and there's also a artist merchandise table outside. If you've enjoyed any of the books you've heard about tonight or any of the artists that you've heard about, they have books and CDs available outside. Let's take 10 minutes and we'll come back shortly, okay? Thank you.